Thank you for streaming us here on WBIR Plus at Channel 10. Our goal is often to connect our community, bring you opportunities, introduce you to people that make you feel you are a part of this community. We do not corner this market, though. There are other great hubs, if you will, out there that are doing that. And one of them, a wonderful hub, if you will, New2Knox. And we are so excited because this afternoon, Emilie Stooksbury, one of the co-founders of New2Knox, is here to talk to us about this venture that started many years ago, about a decade ago.
Yeah.
But we want to learn about that. We also want to learn about you and what inspired you to do this. So, number one, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, before we get to New2Knox, which, by the way, has 63,000 followers on Instagram. How many on TikTok?
16,000.
16,000 and growing. Very popular. I want to get to know Emilie, the person, and what brought you to Knoxville, because at one point you were New2Knox.
I was, yeah. Nearly 12 years ago, I was graduating from college in Austin, Texas, not UT, not the other UT.
Okay, we got that cleared
lesser,
up.
No. But I was looking for an internship for my degree, and I got connected to this church in Knoxville. Ended up really clicking with the leadership there and excited about that church, and kind of wanted a little adventure before coming back to Austin because I loved Austin. And this was a low stakes 1.5 year internship where I could have my adventure. So I moved here for that internship with the Point Church and accidentally stayed 12 years instead of the 1.5 years I expected to be in Knoxville.
So you're no longer new
I am
to
no
Knox.
longer New2Knox.
And we are so happy about that. But you came and you stayed.
Yeah.
And we'll get into how you started with your partners, New2Knox. But let's talk about being new to a community. And really, I guess, was the jumping off point to New2Knox. You moved to a new community.
Yeah.
It comes with a lot of feels.
Yes. If you follow New2Knox, you know I'm not an introvert. I'm not a quiet person. I have always had an easy time making friends and building community. But I think that when you're in high school and college, that comes very naturally. You're like literally living with people who have things in common with you. And I just didn't even expect it to be an issue when I moved to Knoxville. I was like, well, I'll find new friends. I remember the first week I went to Market Square, hopped on a bar stool at Scruffy City Hall and was like, okay,
I'm here.
Here we are. Let's start. And as I'm sure other people have experienced, then I went home and I was like, weird. I didn't make a best friend. I just thought it would be easy. And then I had a phone call with my sister. I remember her saying, like, you're putting way too much pressure on every barista. Like, I just went into coffee shops assuming I was going to like hit it off with these baristas. Yes. So like, all of my attempts were kind of falling short. And I did end up getting connected to the running community. That was how I met Emilie, who I ended up starting New2Knox with, the other Emilie. But I found that the running community really wanted to run. And I did not actually want to run. I just wanted to make friends. I just wanted friends. So that was not a sustainable community for me either. But it was. It was such a pivotal point in life of graduating from college, moving to a new city, exploring, and it being exciting, and all those fun things. Every person you meet is a potential friend, you know.
Absolutely. But
then pairing that with just real loneliness and ending the day being like, did I the church I was interning for was I worked from home for them. Everybody on staff, for the most part, was a married man. So I was like, that's not where I'm going to find, people to grab happy hour with at the end of the day. No. It's probably not going to be these guys. So I did, even now, I say those feelings were so intense at that time. The highs of exploring and new adventures and new opportunities with the lows of just feeling isolated. And a lot of my friends stayed in Austin because it's a wonderful city for young people.
Yes, it is. It's a lot of fun.
They were
all people like
me.
Yeah.
They all were still able to hang out together, and I was seeing that. And calling my mom more than I'd ever called her before, just crippling loneliness paired with those fun things. I can still go back to those feelings. I can pull them to this day and remember what it felt like, which is helpful doing New2Knox. I feel I can empathize so much with people who feel that way, because I know now, at the time it felt like I was the only one who felt that way, but I know that is far, far, far from the truth.
Yes, I think any person who launches into a new experience in a new place, there is that vulnerable time, and you're searching. Well, you searched and you found an opportunity to connect with the community, and in doing so, help others connect with the community through New2Knox. So how did this come about? What was the genesis of this?
Well, I would say the way it came about was actually Emilie Stevens, the other Emilie. We're the Emilies, those first few years.
Dynamic duo.
Yep. I came in with the experience of being lonely and new to a city. And I'll back up. She and I had met running. I did not love running, but I found Emilie. So I was like, okay, she's my girl. Like, I had finally found at least one friend, and so we were training for the half marathon together. And at that point, I think already we had become roommates. So we were living together, training for the half marathon together. Tons of time to chat when you are just alone on the
13 miles
trying to distract yourself. Exactly. So we around like mile 8, I feel like it was like a truth serum, and we'd start being like, I stole all your breakfast cereal. I was like, I thought I noticed it was down. I was like, that's okay. I've been using all your shampoo, that kind of thing. And then it turned into, I haven't been admitting this to anyone, but I'm really lonely, and I don't think I'm going to stay in Knoxville much longer. Like, my internship, I think, was on its way wrapping up, and I was just kind of like back and forth and ready to go back to what was comfortable, go back to my people. And she was shocked, one, that I was feeling that way. She was like, if you're not enjoying it here, and if you're struggling to make friends, there's got to be other people who are struggling, because you're not afraid to go up and like meet people, and you're not afraid to go out and do things. And so while I had like the story, she was the one who like took it and ran with it, because she'd been in Knoxville a long time. Was she
New2Knox at one point?
At one point, she moved to Kingsport is the one by Johnson City, right?
That's right.
Okay.
A couple of hours
I get
off
Kingsport
the road.
and Kingston confused. Yes. Yeah. So she moved to Kingsport, I believe, in middle school or high school. She went to school at UT, though. Stayed post-college. And then moved away for like 6 months or a year, came back. So she'd been in Knoxville for like 10, 15 years at that point.
Right.
Loves Knoxville. Yeah. Loves the people, loves the stories. So she's the one who was like, let's do something about this. And she threw the first party, which is what we consider like the launch of New2Knox, just kind of opened it up to the internet and said like, hey, if you're new to Knoxville and want to make friends, come to the Beard and Beer Market. And a handful of people came, and we were like, okay, that's enough for us to know that this is like a thing that can happen. And from there, I started posting about what I was learning and what I was exploring, and businesses I was enjoying. And she continued to host these parties, host these socials. And it was kind of, I mean, a lot changed over the years for sure, but that's kind of how it started.
It started in 2016. Did I read that correctly?
Yeah.
So
that was our first party.
Congratulations on the decade mark. That's huge.
We'll throw another party. Don't worry.
I'll come. Even though I'm not new to Knox, I'll come, okay? But clearly, it two people with different perspectives, if you will, coming together to create, which is now 10 years old, New2Knox. And I described it in the intro as a hub, because I feel you guys are everywhere. I mean, people can access you on social media. You have a website, and you're out in the community. What did it feel like in those early days?
I loved it. I love that you consider, like, I agree. It's a hub now, a launching point, I hope, for people to find what they love. Because at the time, it was a reason for me to continue to get out there. I could go alone to a restaurant and be like, well, I'm here for New2Knox. I'm not just here alone. Like, I have a reason to be here. You know, I'm a journalist.
It's my job.
Exactly. But it was a creative outlet. It was a chance to explore. It was really fun. I mean, it's still really fun. But at that time, especially, it was like we were not making a dime. We were just enjoying our city. And the socials were always really fun. I was just talking yesterday with Bailey, who came on our team a few years later, about how there are so many ways for people to find community now, which is awesome. But it simply did not exist 10 years ago.
It didn't.
So we would throw these socials and instantly people were like, thank God you did this, you know, or like we found it felt like such an easy way to make such a big impact of just saying like, hey, we're going to be at so-and-so brewery, so-and-so restaurant. Come make a friend. I'd always start with an announcement that said, we're literally all here for the same reason. If you go to other places or other, I don't know, nights out, you're walking into a group of people talking. You don't know if they've known each other for 10 years. You don't know if they're coworkers. You're kind of inserting yourself. That doesn't exist here. We're all here to make friends. Whether or not you're new, you're all here coming with the knowledge that you want to connect.
So you aren't at the door saying, okay, are you New2Knox? If you are, you can come in. If you're not, no, you're out. Yeah,
everyone's welcome. We say New2Knox. I mean, there's still to this day mostly new people connecting, but we've learned there's a million reasons why you might feel out of place in your community. Or I had one gal, and we have New2Knox hops, which we can get into or not, but we had one girl in one of our small hops say, I'm born and raised here. I've been to way too many baby showers now. And I've had to pretend to drink the drinks of too many of my friends. They've all moved to this season. I still love them, but I have no one to go out with anymore. So like I'm back in to meet some new people who are in this season with me still. You can still love your friends that you've always loved and find some new girlies to hang out with. Or people who grew up in Farragut and then moved to Fountain City, and they're like, I know it's just down the street, but somehow like I feel completely like a new person in my town, you know? So there's like so many reasons why someone might want to still connect with New2Knox and meet other people.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the evolution. It started out with, hey, these meetups.
Yeah.
Let's get together. Let's get to know each other. Let's get to know our city. How has it evolved? What does it look like now?
Well, at one point, Emilie is the visionary. She's the dreamer. She's the one who thinks she's incredible. But she was like, let's try to get small groups of people together for like 4 or 5 weeks. See how that is. Let's throw it out there, see what happens. And so we did that. She called it a young professional or young adult small group or something like that. And they went to different coffee shops for 4 or 5 weeks in a row. And we did that once. I think 6 months later, we did it again. And we were like, wow, those people are still hanging out. Like they're still connecting. So we're like, okay, there's something there. Whereas like the socials, the parties, there was no way to keep up with the people. Like they might have a fun night out, but like were they actually hanging out again later? It's hard to, we were seeing that happen. And then I think a year after our first social or our first hop like that, the small group, was COVID. And so we couldn't throw parties.
Right.
We couldn't do anything for a half minute. That gave us opportunity to kind of like look and be like, oh, should we update the website? Should we finally like kind of make this thing official, make it a little more put together? So that was fun. We got like some branding and felt like that was a, step in the right direction. But the other thing we did was really hone in on, okay, how can we get smaller groups of people together in a sustainable way? And so that started with park hops during COVID. We went to different parks and would walk around and have coffee with like 10, I think, what was whatever the ordinance was at the time. 6 people, sure, we'd bring 6 people for that many weeks. 10 people, okay, we do 10. And And again, we're seeing these people just have stronger connections. We were really intentional each week to like have some way to learn about Knoxville, get to know each other. So that was how Hops basically got started. And now we host 3 or 4 hops every single month with 6 to 12 people. They go to 5 different local establishments once a week. And then they still get invited to Hop alumni events throughout the year. But that's, and we still have some big parties too, but
Sure.
that's where we're seeing so much more, the consistency of showing up 5 weeks in a row. And we are going to be annoying about making you hang out in between those and putting things on the calendar for afterward, because that's, I feel like the biggest issue with adult friendships is simply not having the time.
You have to prioritize
You have to prioritize it. And so we basically just force you to prioritize it over the course of like a month and a half. And it's not a foolproof system. It might not work every single time, but
it's in place.
And we do see a lot of cool things come out of it. People are traveling across the world together. People are at each other's weddings. Like, it's very cool.
And what I love about it, I go back to this word community. And the more reading I do about long, healthy lives, an essential part of that is having community.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, when you're new to a place, it's not easy to access. But you and New2Knox and your co-founders are addressing that aspect of community and the essential need for community, of coming together, being a unit.
Yeah.
That has to be gratifying.
It's incredible. It's really exciting. Again, there's so many ways to make friends now. And so that's really exciting too. I feel like the whole world has kind of woken up to the need for each other. But it's still, I just love there not being a need to, you don't need to do anything. It's like, just come, be yourself, enjoy. Now you have someone to text before the festival that's happening this weekend and just see if they're available. You know, you don't have to run a 5K first, which is what I was experiencing when I
want the friends. I don't want the running.
Exactly.
Well, as we wrap up, people can follow you on social media. Not only are there hops and parties, but you keep us up to date on different things going on.
Yes.
The weekends or, a month ahead.
Yeah.
There are opportunities for people to plan for.
Absolutely. Yep. You don't need us. If you have your own friends, love it. Live it up. But we'll keep you up to date with what's going on in Knoxville. Just some fun things that we would want to do ourselves. And you can find us on New2Knox all over the internet.
Okay. You are the hub. Hub. All right, Emilie, thank you so much for sharing your story and the story of New2Knox. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.